did that backwards, but that's okay.
Recording in progress.
Welcome to Beerfield. I am your host at Beerfield Hop, Chris Hopper with 2 P's. Hopper has 2 P's, as does Beerfield Hop. As always, joined by the man I had to convince to drink at Ryan Miner _FFB. Apparently he bikes 25 miles 3 times a week, which is... I didn't know that. Learned a fun fact about Ryan before the show.
That is pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm on my Peloton a lot, so
You're
like to ride.
Dan and I's workouts consist of 12-ounce arm curls and throwing plastic as far and accurately as we can.
Oh, actually, I've actually started a program, so
So
I am well. Good. See. Oh, also, do you know what episode title we're on, boys?
420.
420. Smoke 'em up, Suchi Boochies.
I should have done
Sushi
it.
boochies.
We weren't dry in this house until about 2 hours from now. I would have partaken.
That is. I was like, oh, 420. Look at that. Here we go.
It is.
How cute.
500's always been like my goal since we started this thing. Once I get to 500, I'm living on borrowed time. So we still got a little bit.
Dallas has missed both extra points, by the way.
Maher.
That
Maher know her.
Yeah.
If Tampa Bay was of anywhere of a decent team, that may hurt them.
They're gonna find a way.
They're
to
gonna
win
come.
this.
They're gonna come back. I'm not worried.
They're gonna find a way. They'll find a way.
They always find a way. Terrific time.
Dynasty content. We got a lot of that for you in the coming weeks. We're gonna do some deep cut type of stashes this episode. We'll do some buys and sells next episode. To kind of wrap that up, we'll go back through the last 3 draft classes like we do every offseason. It's really going to cover the rest of January to the middle part of February, and then we'll start hitting the combine and the draft type stuff pretty hard. So we're working draft stuff in the back end right now. Just, like to have our ducks in a row before we start talking about it. So postseason Dynasty check-ins start today. Those that have been with us for several years know how this goes. We've kind of gone through the same phases. It's our favorite time of year. It's the most exciting time of year. And this time of year is presented by the FF Face-Off. So,
look at this.
Shout out to those guys doing some rookie mocks with them right now. So I'm sure that there will be some, articles, ADP, shows, episodes, something on that at some point. You'll hear about it somewhere. So,
yeah. Plus, I'll be doing all the rookie mock drafts again on Sleeper. So, if anyone's interested, hit me up on Twitter, Ryan Miner _FFB, if you want to get in on any of them.
Or at Beerfield, he pays attention to that one too sometimes.
Wait, it's not Beerfield anymore. It's Beerfield Fantasy Football Podcast.
Oh, did you change it back?
Someone did.
I did last episode. I did during the episode.
You made it.
We're just gonna change this right away.
So did you change the name or did you change the handle?
I changed the name because the handle's fine.
The handle's just at Beerfield, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I will. Since you already changed it there, then I'll work on getting the podcast. I'll work on getting the streaming channels and stuff changed back. We took that out because we were gonna do more non-football content, but then the NFL never sleeps, and we just figured, fuck it, we'll just throw a random non-NFL episode in there every now and again as well. And if you care, sorry, July's boring. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah. Well, then
It's like a reset.
And then Ryan joined, and it was like, well,
and we're
not going to subject him to non-football, and then we partnered with that. Yeah.
And we partnered with a literal sports site, so there's that too. So yeah, more to come on that. I got some statistical betting stuff. I might try to put an article for him. I don't know. I did quarterbacks today. It's kind of ugly, but Dynasty content. First off, we're drinking. Let's go ahead and get into what we're drinking, and then we'll cut into some news, and then get it down with the get down, whatever that means. I just made that up.
What's fueling Beerfield?
Dan, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
All right, we're gonna continue with what Ryan kind of did last week, what I did a few weeks back. We're gonna keep with the NA stuff because it's good to expand.
We've all
You're
got
drinking-
curveballs today.
Yeah, it's good to expand, your type of drinking, especially this time of year when people are looking to be a little more health conscious or want to shut off those extra pounds from the holidays. I'm bringing back Big Drop because again,
Nice.
you gotta support what my brewery makes. This is their Hakoba Maya Mexi style NA lager. So this has, because they like to include ingredients, is water, barley malt, lactose, oats, rice, hops. And because this is a Mexican style lager, it's got sea salt and then yeast. So it's got all the things that you look for in an actual beer, but made to not give you a hangover. Or get drunk, I guess, more or less.
Very nice. Getting drunk usually, not getting drunk usually helps with not having a hangover. I'm going a different route. So I have Bistro with a T, Chic. It is a Merlot, Cab, and Syrah blend. This is a 2020 vintage, imported from France. I actually made a Greek lasagna tonight, Greek moussaka, which is kind of a lasagna take. It's like eggplant and zucchini and like a healthier version of it. There's no pasta in it. And it called for red wine in the sauce. So naturally, you don't want the bottle to go to waste. So I drank the rest of it. So that's what this is. So again, that's a blend of Merlot, Cab, Sauv, and Syrah. 2020 vintage, imported from France. So more on that about partway through the show. Been a while since I've had wine on. It's not the first time. It's just been a bit.
It has been a bit.
I feel like it's been a couple years.
Probably.
That's the last time I heard.
Probably, yeah.
So originally I came out with just a big cup of water because after riding, I'm still really thirsty. But Hopper convinced me into getting myself a hard seltzer. So I did. So I have a White Claw Black Cherry.
Oh, for God's sakes, what the fuck? You could have at least gone with like a local seltzer with fucking White Claw.
It was last minute. He had no time to plan, and I talked him into it. Give him a
I
break.
know.
He's doing what he can with what he got.
I know. Hey, someone's got to be on the show that can, that can give the listeners something that they can actually find at their places.
You can probably find this too. It's imported from France. I'm sure the only place you can get it in more places than just Dean's.
I'm just fucking with you, Ryan.
I'm not hurt.
And
I know.
Isn't your beer something they're brewing for overseas?
Yeah, but you can get ours here.
Right, but you can get
it.
But you can get it everywhere.
Not everywhere. I think they're only in 7 or 8 states.
That's more than here. Just here, though.
I mean, you can get it where you're at.
Can I?
Just not. Actually, you probably can because it's not distributed by us here. It's with a different distributor.
Yeah.
But anyways, Ryan, White Claw, what is it?
Black Cherry. It's a hard seltzer. It's fizzy.
And there ain't no laws because he's drinking claws.
Heck no. Never. There isn't. Oh my God. There's no laws when drinking the claw.
News.
All right, a couple of our favorite West Coast pretty boys. Cliff Kingsbury apparently purchased a one-way ticket to Thailand and is telling TNC he has no interest in coaching this year. So he's gonna go hang out on the beach for a bit and figure out what's next. I'm sure. I hope. Honestly, reading this, my first thought is that I hope that he's just taking the time to recharge and reset, and this isn't some like deeper mental health thing here. It's hard to be depressed, I guess, when you're on a beach in Thailand. I'm sure, but I've never been, so I don't know. But anyway, I'm a Cliff fan. Dan, I know you're not really, but I think all of us kind of, hope for the best. Go recharge and reset there, buddy, and then go kick ass in college or as an OC someplace or your next head coaching gig that actually has a supportive GM, whatever you want to do.
I'm in all support of this. I mean, let the guy go do what he wants to do. I want to say
a fuckload of money and he's getting $5.5 million to sit at home. Let him chill.
I mean, yeah, like I want to say it's what for the next. I think I saw until 2027.
Yeah, because he
gets
signed
paid.
an
Oh my God.
extension before this year. He's getting
Yeah,
$5.5
yeah.
million to just do nothing.
Like again, he's almost as cool. He's almost as cool as Matt Flynn, but
Yeah.
he's basically Chase Daniels at this point. And he gets paid to not really do much, but at this point, he doesn't even have to have a job. He can just
Do whatever because he's getting $5.5 million to hang out and do whatever.
It's incredible. I absolutely love it. But
I got to
best
become an NFL head
wishes.
coach.
Yeah,
I'm in the
Yeah.
wrong
I mean,
business.
Me
I
too.
mean, some of the guys they hire. I mean, you might as well just hire somebody off
I
Twitter.
get fired. I don't get my salary for 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. Be great.
Right. Sean McVay going the other way. He, after a much briefer than last offseason flirtation with not returning, is going to come back as the Rams head coach. They also picked up Matt Stafford's 2023 option. So I think this is the right call. The Rams are in a bad way, and the only option that they have to be competitive is to try to run it back again with the same group and the same core before, shit goes south. I mean, it already went south, but they don't really have another option. They don't have the capital to rebuild or anything. They're starting to age out. So I don't know what else they can do. This is probably the best case scenario for them.
Yeah, you got to get something else with Baker Mayfield there. So it's like you might as well pick up Stafford. I mean, and if you start bombing, do they trade Cup now? If the season starts going south again, do you try trading away
Do they
everyone?
actually have their first rounder for 2024?
Yes.
Okay. Then yes, if things start going south, you move Cup, you maybe try to move Stafford mid-season. Donald, if he doesn't retire, they've got trade pieces to go full rebuild mid-season if it goes bad.
And he can actually, pick his own quarterback for once. I mean, I guess he kind of handpicked Stafford about as much as you could do. So
Yeah.
He picked Baker Mayfield too.
I mean, they were the only team that put in a claim, and they had a very high claim. So,
Which, I mean, it makes sense, right? You lost Stafford. Let's get Baker in because, Stafford's health is going to be a question. Let's see if maybe we want to bring him in as a backup. If Stafford didn't come back, see what you got because you don't have a first rounder. So, and you don't have a lot of cap space. So you got to try to figure something out. Baker's a good lottery ticket. But anyway, good for them. We got some playoff stuff to talk about here. So the Giants, Jags, 49ers, Bills, and Bengals have all advanced so far. The Cowboys currently are up 12-0 on the Bucks. Couple subplots in this one. So let's start off not in chronological order. Chargers in that blown lead. A lot of people want to place a lot of blame. Who are you guys blaming for that 28-point or 27-point choke job?
gonna fall. I mean, it's got to start on Brandon Staley, right? It's got to start on the
Exactly.
head coach. It's got to start on the guy that's supposed to corral and supposed to bring these guys during these situations, right? This is kind of the moments of why you even have a fucking head coach to begin with. It's when shit like this happens.
Exactly.
You're supposed to be able to rally a team. And then you got to put a little blame on Justin Herbert a little bit, right? In the sense where, like, there were plays that he could have made, especially in the second half, that could have allowed this team to step up. I think he missed a deep shot to Keenan Allen at some point. So, I mean, it's not on all one person, but I think it starts. Absolutely, and it starts at the top with the head coach.
Yeah,
and Austin Eckler only had 6 touches too in the second half. So
yeah,
right there, it's
6.
like, come on, yeah.
Well, and that's that's
Jesus
the
Christ.
OC. Staley's a defensive head coach, but your defense went out and gave up 31 points, relatively unanswered. Dicker missed a field goal, which would have been the difference in the game. Herbert didn't make plays down the line. That same defense that created 5 turnovers allowed 31 unanswered. There's enough blame to go around, and at the end of the day, when the entire team fails in that regard, you had a failure on special teams, failures on defenses, failures on offense, the head coach is accountable for all of that. And I think that's an important distinction because there are people that are like solely wanting to blame Herbert, solely wanting to blame Dicker, solely wanting to blame, the defense, Staley and the defense. And while it's Staley's fault, it's not Staley's fault because of the defense. It's Staley's fault because the whole team just couldn't
imploded,
sustain that. And credit where credit's due. Shout out to Lawrence for being able to turn around what could have just easily been a complete unraveling into an excellent second half, really starting at the end of the first half. Had 4 picks, really got himself straightened out, some creative play calling by the offense and Doug Peterson. As much as you want to hate on the Chargers, the Jags, I think, deserve equally as much credit for being able to put that together.
I mean, it's oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll say, and the difference between Peterson and Staley was Peterson adjusted. Staley didn't adjust. He just tried to keep going with what he had. He wasn't changing anything up, where Peterson actually started changing things up and actually made the offense flow.
Yep.
It's into Ryan's point. It's super. I mean, it just speaks volumes to having a head coach that's been there, that's handled, somewhat adversity, throughout his time in Philly, and then being able to, coach the playoffs.
Yeah,
won a fucking Super Bowl with Nick Foles,
backup quarterback.
And just finding ways to be successful in ways that, I'm not sure how far the Jacksonville team's going to go, but I promise you, Chiefs fans, if you're sleeping on this team, you're going to see what happens when the team's got this much momentum and this much.
And chips.
So I need to go get my son and bring him down here.
They're playing with house money.
Yeah, and they won 6 straight. They won 5 straight to get to the playoffs. They won 6 straight now with this comeback win, and every single team that we've seen, right? Every single team we've seen, besides maybe San Francisco, it's absolutely beautiful. Buffalo, a lot of third string quarterback nearly beat them because of because of timely turnovers. Yep. And the Bengals, nearly lost to arguably one of the worst teams in the postseason in Baltimore.
Good defense, but bad offense, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But the Bengals almost lost for that. The Chiefs coming off the bye, we've seen teams struggle with that in the past, and you absolutely can't sleep on them. Another subplot. So Brock Purdy, 3 touchdowns, hyper efficient in this offense. If the Niners keep doing what they're doing, is a chance that the 49ers go into training camp next year with a quarterback competition?
Like Mr. Irrelevant becomes relevant?
Is Trey Lance safe? If Purdy keeps winning games and performing this, I don't think they'll give it to Purdy outright, but I think at minimum it could be a competition coming through camp again.
If you spend any time on Twitter, especially after that game, you got a lot of people that will recognize how good Purdy played
and how
also
talented Trey Lance is. Yes.
That absolutely. Actually, Trey Lance really being talked about. It's more so that Purdy just kind of it's pretty clear to see that he like this is the product of elite coaching and having the best running back, the best tight end, at least the best all around tight end, and a running back at wide receiver who in its own right, it's almost a top 12. It speaks volumes to it. No, I'm not taking away what Purdy has done. Obviously, I didn't love him coming out of the draft, but I loved him when I started watching his film, back in his freshman season. There's a lot to like about him. Things haven't gone wrong. He's being protected. Like, if you know anything about Brock Purdy, if you watch any of his film back in college, when it unravels, it really fucking unravels for him.
Oh,
he is a gunslinger at heart. That's like, he's of the Baker Mayfield mold, the Sam Darnold's. Like, he's of those molds where if things start to go wrong, it will unravel for him pretty quickly. And Kyle Shanahan and his offense and his coaching staff have done a remarkable job of putting Purdy in good positions. And Purdy's done what he's supposed to do. What else he's supposed to fucking do, right? He's doing exactly what his job is, and that's to win games and to not lose them. So, I mean, it's that simple.
You do your job, you execute well. The whole point of an offensive system is for the system to execute well. So even if it's a system quarterback type of scenario, if you can win with them, they ain't just going to slam him back on the bench. They're going to, at bare minimum. Now, if you believe in the talent of Trey Lance, this won't scare you at all. But at bare minimum,
They're getting phone calls. They're getting phone
they're either
calls.
gonna,
For,
well,
I promise you.
they're either going to get phone
Lance.
calls or for Lance, yes, but they're going to end up in a
absolutely for Lance.
Yeah, and they're going to end up probably in a. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch over the offseason because we have a controversy and a story developing here. I think you can't really take somebody that plays that well and just slam them back on the bench without at least giving them a chance to compete and keep that job next season, especially when everybody on the show, I think, believes in the talent of Trey Lance. I say I think because, Ryan, I'm pretty sure you do too.
I was against him last year.
Okay. I thought he was very raw, but there was definitely talent there. I think.
Yeah, the talent's there, and you nailed it with the rawness.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, right? Is that he didn't play enough this year to shed that rawness tag just because he got hurt early on, and then the Bears game was really a throwaway just because of the weather that day.
The fucking monsoon.
The monsoon, right. So that game's kind of a throwaway. So, you don't really have that rawness shed from Trey Lance, and now all of a sudden you've got the stretch of Brock Purdy proving that he's a dude that can do it, even if it is just in the system, even if it is protective. He's showing that he can work in this system, not taking any away from Shanahan, who seems to do this every year because he always has quarterback injuries, and he made C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins look somewhat competent. But
one last. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Say one last point. Look at their window. Trey Lance will be entering his third season.
Third season, yeah.
Completely unknown.
Yep.
They have, Debo, Ayuk's, his contract. They're gonna have to figure out how to pay Ayuk because they have, McCaffrey, they have Kittle, and this is just on offense.
It's now.
Their window is right now. If you're winning with Purdy, this is why I won't obviously guarantee it, but I promise you there are teams going to be making phone calls to San Francisco about Trey Lance's availability.
Oh yeah.
Now, if those and should not shock anybody if he gets moved, because he still has that type of rawness. He won't get the same type of love because he only have 2 years left on his rookie deal. Really 1 year left before you have to decide if you have, if you want to pick up his 5th year or not.
Yeah. But after looking at this quarterback, if I'm the Jets, after looking at this quarterback class, if I'm the Jets, if I am Carolina, if I am Vegas,
Tennessee,
Tennessee kind of has their own version and draw Trey Lance and Malik Willis, but what?
Dallas scored again, and he missed the fucking extra point again.
That's the third missed extra point from Mar?
That's the third in a row.
That's gonna bite him, and I'm gonna laugh.
18-0. It won't bite. I don't see this Tampa Bay team coming back. But it's the third. Why the fuck are you still kicking field goal? Or
just go for 2 if you're gonna miss them.
After he's missed the second one, you should not even go back to kicking it. I mean, thank God that Tampa Bay isn't very good this year. Otherwise, they would be getting their ass kicked in this sense.
Yep.
My God. Hysterical. 3.
Yeah. If I'm any of those teams that doesn't have an opportunity at Stroud or Young or maybe Hendon Hooker, his statistical stuff looked pretty okay. I think he might be this year's version of that rawness, though.
He's so fucking old. That's it. Like he is.
He's old.
25.
He's a more rod version of like Kenny Pickett.
He's also a more athletic version of Kenny Pickett, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. He's absolutely. I just don't know how much more you can grab from him. I mean, if you spend that much time in college, I'm sure there's some more ceiling to him, but it's not like a Trey Lance or a Josh Allen that at least had they're coming in at 20, 21 years old. I mean, Hayden Hooker's coming in at his mid fucking 20s. So
give me a 25-year-old, I'll take Hooker over Bennett.
I mean,
yeah, but
I mean, is that even a question? Absolutely.
No. So anyway, yeah, I agree with you, Dan. Teams are probably going to be. This is going to be something to keep an eye on because if the Niners feel good about Purdy, man, how do good teams stay good if they're aging through their window? If you can trade Trey Lance for a little bit of a haul, and they have that good of a roster and picks to help manage the salary cap situation after they've proven an ability to draft.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, just
Yeah.
the Niners might have the best sustained success and infrastructure amongst any team in football right now.
they're the new Patriots, except they don't have
The
that
titles.
well, yes, and which is come from the the lack of consistency at QB because of injuries. But I mean, they're overcoming the most difficult position to overcome, and that speaks. And it's not just once or twice. That speaks a lot of volumes to them.
Huge volumes about Shanahan.
Yeah.
Anything else on that, Ryan? Anything to add?
Yeah, it's like the Rams Patriots type of thing with San Francisco. They're just trying to they can build with what they have because they have so many weapons there. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
As long as you stop drafting running backs in the third round, I think they'll be okay.
Except
Yeah.
the Rams did it by giving up draft picks. The 49ers are somehow doing it and gaining draft picks.
And they also traded for a shit ton for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if they have a first or second this year. Then I don't think they do because they moved their set. I mean, their second round pick was the highlight for McCaffrey.
Yeah, I think it was it second this year and second next year?
I don't think it was two second. I think it was second. Maybe I think it's
I know
second,
it's second, third, fourth,
and
right?
sixth.
So
I don't know. There's 4 picks involved.
So they have 2 compensatory 3s, 2 5s, and 2 7s.
So
Right, so
2
the first
3 2 3 5 7 2 3 or 2 3 5 6.
They've got 2 3s. They don't have a second rounder. They have 2 third rounders, 2 fifth rounders, and 2 seventh rounders. They have no 4, no 6, no first, or no second.
Also, the Panthers have their first.
No, it should be Denver now because it was part of the Tyreek.
Yeah.
It was part of the move up. It was part of the move up deal to get Lance.
Yep.
Miami got him.
Yeah.
Yep. But if they flip Lance, they could easily pull that back. Anyway. Third notable thing coming out of that, J.K. Dobbins absolutely flaming the Ravens on the way out.
It was
He
him.
Was
He was even a little bit of Huntley too, because he was like, I shouldn't have even been in this spot. Like, let's be real.
Was he wrong?
That was the worst goal line dive I saw. It's like, come on, you're like you jump 2 yards away.
Harbaugh did say he was supposed to go underneath.
It don't matter.
It don't matter. I mean,
yeah, he went up.
At that point, yes, it should have been underneath. Like I think anyone who was watching the game with a sense of knowledge of football was like, why are you diving?
Why are you going over the top?
Why?
But
which is, oh my god, I'm so pissed.
But Dobbins,
what really surprised me was Mark Andrews on that play. It's like, holy crap, I can't believe how fast that guy is.
Well, I mean,
he's quick, but
he's quick.
Perfectly legal block, by the way, for anybody.
Yeah, it was a side swipe.
You don't make that call.
You don't make that call.
You don't.
My first thought was blocking the back, and then when I watched it again, he did have the arm in the shove from behind, but he had the right hand around the side. And to the letter of the rule, if you have one hand on the side, you're good. So that was a hell of a play by Hubbard. But yeah, Dobbins basically saying that, Tyler shouldn't have been in that situation, pissed off about his carry load. I'm a playmaker. Why wasn't I on the field? Why wasn't I on that goal line stand? I've proven that I can be explosive, and he has been. He's been the heart of that offense and the only thing that can move it for the better part of the last 5 weeks. It's the playoffs. Why aren't you relying on me? And, also saying if they had Lamar, they would have won. I don't think you can disagree with any of that.
No.
Their defense was stellar.
Yeah, they did really great. I couldn't believe how good they played.
I mean, it's hilarious because their defense was pretty bad to start the season, and then after Lamar got hurt, it's obviously after they made the big trades, it started to really take off. Like Kyle Hamilton started off struggling, and he's turned into one of the better young safeties. It's
the Roquan
remarkable.
Smith. Roquan Smith earned his contract after that trade, and
it's a bunch of what ifs at this point for that team, and Greg Roman should definitely be like he.
I'm waiting for Roman to be fired. I'm hoping for Roman to be fired because they need a fresh look on that offense, and something needs to make that team not one-dimensional. I've been praying for it for. I don't pray, but I've been asking for it for like the last 2 to 3 years as we've seen Lamar kind of show flashes of progressing as a passer. Like, please give this offense some other dimension.
and just show that commitment. Like I will obviously love the Bateman draft pick, but I mean, after watching Allen and Hurts, which is of similar molds in terms of raw passers becoming very, very good in that sense, dude, they're showing no commitment, right? I'm not saying you're going to go out and get a Stephon Diggs or AJ Brown, but I mean, you traded away Marquise Brown. You didn't even spend a day one or day two pick to
on a
replace
receiver.
him.
No.
Yeah,
No.
it's the continuality of
You had a
Roman's.
solid pick in Duvernay and watched him turn into nothing.
I mean, he would have been a fine 3, in special teams, because I don't really care about James Prochet, but it's again, you don't see that, you don't see the evolution of that offense, and that's because of Roman. He was great for Jackson coming out, and he's well warmed his welcome. Also, just watch out Harbaugh. He's not really on a hot seat, but there's potential, retirement rumors, and the lack of playoff wins is very much of God, my God, I remember his name, the old Cincinnati coach.
Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis.
Yeah.
7 straight playoffs, never won a game.
Very Marvin
in those
Lewis
playoffs. And that's where they're at right now.
Yeah. And here's the thing with Roman. I think that Greg Roman's style of offensive coordinator served a purpose for Lamar, which is to help ease the transition. But the problem is that you hit a point where you are now stunting the evolution. You had the perfect guy for young Lamar to come in to tailor the offense to what young Lamar's skills were. But the NFL will evolve and match that. And they did. And, we saw a couple teams figure it out year one, and more they figure out how to contain it. We've seen injuries for Lamar now that have come from that play style, which I think a lot of us were worried about, especially with the size, because he's not Cam Newton. And, you really kind of hindered the development and evolution because you didn't have something that helped nurture the growth at the same time. Roman was perfect for the transition, but he wasn't good for the growth because he just catered to what you were already good at instead of, developing the new skill sets and adding depth to that, like what we saw with Josh Allen, for example.
Yeah. You just got to make that. You just got to make that choice. We just watched with, with the Eagles this year with Hurts. You got to make that choice. And they never did. At least not now.
Yep. All right. I think that covers it. Anything else from playoff games that we need to talk about?
I nailed the trifecta on Saturday. I hit all the over-unders, the spreads, and the money lines.
Yay!
You should just retire now because it's never going to be that good again. It's gambling. No, it's gambling's way of saying you done did good, kid.
Yesterday was bad, and today's looking even worse.
Yeah, yesterday was rough.
All right, Ryan. Actually, no, wait, we didn't. You're not leading this segment anymore. I am, because we're going round table.
Dynasty Darlings.
Just finding more reasons to recycle drops.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go round table. We're going to put an hour on the clock. So right now it is 8:41 Central Time, so on January 16th, 2023, for those timestamp people. Hour on the clock. We're going to round table through as many of these Dynasty sessions as we can get to. Ryan, this was your idea. It's your article. We're kind of looking at these guys as these aren't guys you're necessarily going to go out and, sell the farm for. They're either going to be throw-in trade pieces or potentially available out on waivers. But they're stashes. They're guys you're putting on your bench and hoping they can take the step next season. So, Ryan, why don't you go ahead and start? Who's the first guy you want to highlight?
One of my first guys, and it's actually huge news, is Sam Howell, the quarterback from the Washington Commanders. And what I like about him is Carson Wentz has no more money guaranteed on his contract, and Taylor Heineke's also a free agent. So that kind of leaves him as the starting QB1 as of right now. And I saw Player Profile even posted a tweet on Saturday saying that they were going to go to Sam Howell as the starting quarterback right now. So to get him in there, I mean, what he did in Week 18 was exactly what we liked about him in college when he was at North Carolina. I mean, he had that rushing ability in Carolina. He was that team. Like, he lost everyone from 2007, or not 2017, but to 2021. So 2022, he has a whole new team around him. So what he's trying to do is try to build around it, but he had nothing to build. So he just like rushed like over 800 yards, and that rushing ability was also showing on Sunday a couple weeks ago. So he's actually one player I'm actually excited about. He's even able to complete 11 of the 19 passes for 169 yards, a touchdown and an interception. But he was also able to add 5 rushes for 35 yards in that touchdown. And so that upside there alone, it's kind of like a nice little stash because he's more like a QB3 right now that you can feel better about. And you can either trade, you won't have to trade much for him because if no one knows what's really going to happen with him, you can't really get much for him because there's too much speculation on what's really going to happen there. But if he's on the waiver wire, which he was on one of mine, I actually just went and picked him up. He's definitely worth an ad on that.
Yeah. Sam Howell to me is a huge development play, but if you can either grab him on waivers in a dynasty league or get him as a throw-in piece, it's kind of a lottery ticket play. So here's what I had on Sam Howell coming out of the draft. He had enough zip. His throws were pretty well on target. He seemed relatively accurate, especially with a clean pocket. Scrambling was noted when the opportunity is there, and he had a good internal clock. He got through his reads quickly, knew when there's pressure and knew when to run. Also, he punted once in college, so that was some cool points. I had that as a note that he punted in the game I watched. But doesn't throw on the run, didn't move the pocket, not twitchy or explosive so much as just, he can scramble and pick up some yards. And that's fine. We've seen guys like Justin Herbert do that perfectly okay, where they're not explosive runners, but can pick up yardage and extend plays and move them positive with their legs. Overall, my read on Sam Howell, I think from the draft was like, it's a guy that if you have a good defense and good playmakers around him, he's totally fine. It's a game manager with a little bit of rushing floor, but he didn't necessarily make chunk plays. He didn't really show a huge ability to, extend plays or go playground football like what Justin Fields can do. And he's gonna need pieces around him. Now, he does have some playmakers. They do have a decent O-line. It's worth the lottery ticket. I don't see Sam Howell as the type of... I'm playing devil's advocate for it. I see Sam Howell, if he gets the starting gig, probably being a usable RB2 because of the rushing upside. I don't
QB2.
see...
RB2?
Maybe
QB2.
Probably both, honestly. But
He's white.
He's white.
He's white. Shout out Peyton Hillis. Hope you're doing well. But I don't see him as the type of player that's going to elevate a team. If he has a good team around him, he can absolutely make it work. I don't see him as somebody that's going to elevate a team. So I think they'll give it an opportunity because it's what they got right now. And it's going to be sink or swim. So you're taking that gamble, I guess, is the asterisk I want to put on that to devil's advocate what you just said, Ryan.
Well, another thing too is when you look at dynasty stashes, there's a reason why they're cheap or they're on the waiver wire too.
Right, everything's a gamble.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not taking any jabs at it. It's like, nope, it's totally called for because we don't know what can happen.
It's also hard to find quarterback gambles, right? They're so
right.
They're so black and white. They're so black and white between what is good and what isn't good at the QB position. That it's really, really hard to find gambles to take and people that are already in the league on quarterback versus just drafting it. So totally a worthwhile call out.
I mean, especially look at the people that stumbled on Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
You were getting him 4th, 5th round waiver wire at all,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stumble on Brock Purdy. I always knew.
Good for you.
He stumbled into you. He stumbled into you, actually.
I'm totally kidding. I mean, he was at times that bad. He probably threw to me by accident.
I think I had the same notes on Purdy that you did too, Dan, as far as the
He is he's so erratic.
He is.
It looks so
Yeah.
much fun. Like I remember texting Opera, like he reminds me of Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Like there's so much there, but boy, when it goes wrong, it
It goes
just
real
fucking
wrong.
spirals.
Yep. So yeah. Thoughts on Sam Howell, Dan?
As Ryan mentioned, it's just him and Carson Wentz, and I think all reports are reporting to Wentz is probably gone. You know, after this year. I don't love Howell. His best comparable on playerprofile.com. Shout out to playerprofile.com. Use it for all your dynasty information.
Yes.
Is Sam Darnold. Is he ran a 5.0740. Like he is not athletic.
No.
He's not, but he's young, spiteful enough. He's a gamer. He is your Minshew's. He is your Taylor Heineke's. He is your lesser of equal-ish kind of Darnolds and Bakers, where there's obviously talent there, right? He was a Debbie Darling during his freshman season when he still had Michael Carter, Javonte Williams, Daz Newsome, and oh my God, what the fuck is his name? His other guy he has on his team. Where he had an actual, a crew of playmakers around him, as Ryan mentioned, when they all left in the 2020 draft, and it was just him and Josh Downs. It was rough, horrible O-line in college, and he makes a lot of mistakes too. He can make every throw. It's just there's a lot of different versions of him. So, but there's a reason, as Ryan and Hopper both said, there's a reason why he was a 5th round pick. There's a reason why these are dynasty stashes. He is a starting quarterback today when the offseason starts. Yep. And for that very reason, he needs to be rostered. It's in not single QBs, but in 2 QB super flex, he needs to be rostered.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely that.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, why don't you throw one out next?
Keontae Ingram.
Boy.
Now, talk about another player I loved when I was vetting the Devy process. Broke out as the sophomore, big pass catcher for Texas. And then somebody named Bijan Robinson, I'm not really sure that is, joined the team, right? I don't know. It's just some guy who's supposed to reset the running back world. Joined the team. He obviously, fucks off the USC because he still wants to be productive. And for a guy his size, right, 6 foot 220, not the most athletic, but he is a great pass catcher. And he is in a system potentially now with, we're not really sure what the Cardinals are going to be, but the only running back that's signed through the 2023 season is James Conner. And again, next man up, right? They're going to add more pieces, but Ingram was a 6th round pick. He was liked. He got his playing time this year. And he's got the size that at least he can handle a full workload. I don't know if he'll ever get that opportunity, but we know the fragility of James Conner, and this Cardinals team is moving towards a rebuild, or at least a competitive retooling, with Murray potentially starting the year on the PUP list, depending on when how his recovery time through his clean ACL tear takes. You could see a lot more Ingram next year, and he needs to absolutely be on every roster, regardless of league format. He should be someone that you just throw on your bench and hope and pray.
You are rostering Rachaad White. You should and believe in Rachaad White. You should also roster and believe in Keontae Ingram.
Yeah.
Those two are forever going to be tied at the hip for me. I had them in the same tier coming out of rookie drafts. Rachaad White gets a lot more love and want than what Ingram does, but they were very, very similarly talented, very, very similarly skilled. Very, very similar positions with running backs that are under contract for next year, but are either showing some ineffectiveness, signs of aging, and fragility. And I can't really add much else to what you said, Dan. I think that it's well documented to anybody that's been listening to the show for any amount of time, really since last year when we did the rookie previews, that Keontae Ingram is somebody that I absolutely love. He's decisive. He's got good vision. He didn't take negative plays in college. Hard to bring down. Good blocker. Looks comfortable in the passing game. He looks like he has everything it would take to be a bell cow. just waiting for the opportunity. I guess you could say he's one injury away.
It's
Yeah,
almost like he's one injury away.
But he's got a split backfield. I mean, with James Conner, he's always very injury prone. So I mean, he's like being that one injury away. He could be that guy, but I just see him always being like a 1-2 back there, no matter what. Like he's always gonna be paired with someone.
I
I
mean,
didn't see him ever being a bell cow.
again, you're not going to find a workhorse
And who
in
isn't
the Dynasty
these days?
right now, right? He has the size, he has the somewhat desired athleticism, and he's got the production. At least he's got the profile that would suggest that he could be a semi-less athletic Rashad White.
Let me put
Yeah,
it this
That's what he
way.
is right now.
Nobody, hardly anybody is getting handed bell cow roles right now. It's rare. Very, very rare.
4 running backs only had over 265 rushes this year.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
It's very, very rare. How often do you want the pass catcher over the runner?
I'm starting to shift that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there.
Yeah, I've been there too.
Unless you're Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry, which I don't
Unless
ever
that
pay out
runner is
for.
getting 80-plus
ever.
targets a season, it ain't paying off for you. So
It's the guys that also catch passes. Your Ecklers, your McCaffreys.
Yes.
you have a 1A that's getting 30 to 50 targets a season, or a 1B that's getting hardly any freaking carries, but 60 targets a season. I'll take the 1A.
Yeah, and Ingram can catch the ball too, so that's another
Yes, he
benefit
can.
too out of
It's
him.
comfortable.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, how about you got?
I'm going to take something that I know was on your list because I've been locked into this and actually made the pickup about 5 weeks before the season ended, and that's Isaiah Hodgins.
Yes.
6'4", 210, 24 years old. Checked a lot of boxes out of college from a statistical perspective. My 2020 notes on him when he was drafted, he's on his second team, had him as an extremely raw talent with some catch radius, which kind of hurt his film score because he had the size and checked the athletic boxes, but he was really undeveloped. So a couple years later now, you're starting to see some of this develop and pay off, which is the part of Dynasty that people forget in this instant gratification world. Since landing on the Giants, who currently don't really have a wide receiver one, that might change come draft time or probably not free agency. The wide receiver class isn't that strong. Might change at draft time. But since landing on the Giants, his snap shares climbed to the mid-80s. He's first in the league in win rate versus man coverage, 10th overall in route win rate, which those were the precursors to Tyler Lockett's breakout, was being able to win and separate. Had no drops, 12th in contested catch, 4 reception touchdowns over his last 5 games, and that doesn't count the huge performance he just had in his first ever playoff game. And he wasn't doing this against nobody. He did it against James Bradbury, Duke Shelley, who in a mid-season pickup is a fucking beast. I'm sad the Bears let him go. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but he's been a badass. And then Kendall Fuller, who's also very, very good in deflected balls and coverage. So not necessarily lockdown, but he's not doing that against no one. If the target volume shows up for him next year, and it started to over the back part of the season, you've got yourself an easy wide receiver 2 here that you're able to grab on waivers in a lot of places mid last year. He's somebody that if he's on waivers coming into the offseason, I might be looking at using a 3rd or 4th round rookie draft pick on instead of grabbing somebody at the back end of this draft class.
Yeah, it's all going to depend if you're legal. It again allows you to pick up
a lot of them do
waivers. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is generally pre-draft. Like the only time you ever see this happen is during the pre-draft process, just to prevent the everyday stuff. But just a quick thing. Hodgins right now is the wide receiver 1.
Yes, easily.
And I think Dabo probably or Dable had a pretty probably strong influence on what happened with Josh Allen and in the Diggs situation. I expect that to be the case. Giants are going to recognize that their windows now. They're going to obviously give Daniel Jones probably a bridge contract. Plus, you're going to see them go after, one of these, veteran, wide receivers that may be on the move. These guys that are coming up on their final year, guys like Michael Pittman, Brandon Ayuk potentially. You could see those guys start to get offers from these other teams. Those teams would be getting phone calls, and this is a destination I think people will want because of the coaching staff and what Dable was able to do this year, and because of what they have at quarterback with the rise of Daniel Jones. But Hodgins right now, like, he is that dude. So
I love Hodgins. I mean, from the time he got claimed right after the Giants bye, he had 33 catches for 351 yards and 4 touchdowns, and being as that go-to receiver.
That was after the
Jones.
halfway point of the season. So
Yeah,
he is who you wanted Alan Lazard to be. It's Hodgins.
He's who you wanted Kenny Galladay to be.
Well, that too. Except he's actually still, like, he's of the same athleticism. Like, he's good enough.
exactly.
He's got a good catch radius.
And even if they, yeah,
And he did good yesterday.
and even if they
against
do,
Minnesota.
Yeah.
and even if they do,
Who didn't?
grab somebody, I mean, even if this is a dude that profiles as a 2 with touchdown upside because of his size and his contested catch rate, like, good. Dynasty, people lose this, but Dynasty isn't all about the high-end players. People lose the fact that you need a roster, top to at least middle, that you can plug and play and swap around because of injuries and things not panning out the way you expect and this and that and the other. So, I mean, these are the holes these type of guys help fill.
Absolutely. And that's why it's always fun to always go deep. Like, it's like you'll have your 8 team, you'll have your 10 team, you'll have your 12, 14, 16. Like, you kind of get a better depth. Like, I would try to go deeper to just try to help, like, other people find someone.
Yeah.
To, like, just like, at least think about it. Could be 1%
I mean, you
owned.
should. I mean, Hodgins is probably not the deepest that we'll talk about. I think at this point he's been rostered, since it became his show and the Giants started to, improve as a passer, especially when you get, matchups like Minnesota and the Colts. You're going to get, there's reasons why that, people are going to, look to you as a, as a flex fill-in.
Indeed.
I like it. Yeah, he's one of my favorite definite ads.
Well, who's your other favorite? Because you're up.
You're up.
You're up again.
I like Jerome Ford, the running back out of the Cleveland Browns. And basically all that, it's not just one injury away. There's no one else ahead of him as of right now, based on what the contracts look like. Because Kareem Hunt is a free agent after this. And Dearness Johnson only signed a 1-year contract, so he's going to be gone.
So Nick Chubb's
that leaves
ahead of him.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's going to be Jerome Ford and then Nick Chubb right there. And for a rookie out of Cincinnati, he only had 8 carries for 12 yards this season, so it's nothing like really to catch on to. Not great stats or anything, but he was very productive at the University of Cincinnati. He averaged 6.2 yards per carry for 1,242 yards and had 20 total touchdowns in 2021. So even though he didn't have an NFL reception, he does have the ability to catch, as he also had 22 catches for 220 yards for the Bearcats in his final year. The skills are there. I just see, like, it's just something that the Browns need to tap into. And I'm hoping they do that better than they did with what I was hoping with Kareem Hunt this year, because they did not use Kareem Hunt like they usually do.
It's a strong call out because, as Ryan mentioned, that it's just him, Nick Chubb, show favorite, show darling, John Kelly, and somebody like Nate McCreary or some shit like that. They're gonna likely add another player.
Yeah.
To this, they're right in the middle of the pack. They're the bottom half of where the salary wants to be, but they're going to be shedding contracts to get back up to where they need to be for free agency. So it's a great call out. They're not going to spend a high pick.
No,
and he's going to have a chance to open up the season, most likely, competing with another day 3 pick.
Yeah, and that's what's nice about this year's draft class too. Is it's very running back deep.
It is very running back deep, and you got a strong free agency class too. Is the other thing there? So,
Jesus Christ is strong. Thank God.
It is a super strong free agent class along with a deep draft class. So, it's a good call right now. It's a good gamble right now. Just based on the roster structure. He did have a bit of college productivity, 30.3% college dominator, which is good. But didn't really show a whole lot this year. So it'll be interesting to see how the roster structure plays out. For running backs, mostly what you're looking for is opportunity, though. And right now, he's got a clear path to opportunity, but I'd be real surprised if they don't do something in free agency or the draft to add somebody that we project ahead of Jerome Ford. And maybe not. This might look like a much, much more sure thing after this.
Yeah, and that's what's hard to That's hard to judge now. So you just play
So you
now
play
game.
right now. Yep, absolutely.
Another touchdown.
Dak
24-0.
They kick the extra point.
They just scored. So I'll update on the on extra point gate. Any more on Jerome Ford?
No.
All right. We're gonna move to a guy that was on probably 100% of Dynasty rosters entering this past season. That's probably dropped down to 20%, maybe. Chase Edmonds, guys, Broncos. Currently,
He's on the Broncos now? I thought he was on the Dolphins.
nope,
No,
he got traded.
He got
remember?
traded.
Oh, that's right.
He was part of the Bradley Chubb trade.
And then they picked up Beatty, and did he do anything on the Broncos, or did he get hurt?
I think he was practice squad, maybe.
Gotcha.
But currently, Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray are not under contract entering the 23 season.
Gordon needs to retire.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Javonte Williams is the only guy, is one of the only worthwhile names. I believe Beatty's still under contract there.
He is. He'll be. It was a 2-year deal, so he'll be there next year.
Yeah. But we know, based off of the injury and based off of just what we saw from Dobbins' recovery, because this is a very similar type of ACL tear, plus that Javonte will probably start the year on the PUP list, if I had to guess, which means Edmonds, who's had some most experience, unless they went out and signed a veteran, is a guy that's got experience handling a semi-heavy workload. You know, he's got experience, you know, as a leader of a running back backfield. And while you never expect him to see 15 plus carries, he's a decent pass catcher. He's not going to have a quarterback that's going to fucking throw darts to him 2 yards away like Tua did. And that's becomes a very valuable part to it, right? He was pretty much well liked going to Miami. There's a lot of upside buzz to him. He struggles there. He moves on. He gets, traded and likely dropped the majority of your dynasty league. So someone that you should go back and re-add if he is in your waiver wires, and you can, because he will likely start the season next year a part of that backfield, whether he's the leader of that running back room, because they'll likely be a committee, or at least their primary pass catcher. And again, probably going to be cheap, free.
They were trying to get him involved at the end of the season once the Hackett was gone. Like he was actually being out there as a pass catcher too, so it was actually nice to actually see him play.
Yeah, I mean,
I liked him in Miami.
It was
it just wasn't bad. It wasn't a good thing that
it wasn't.
Turned out
it was
to be.
a run fit. I don't think Tua was great at checkdowns because again, he likes to, put a little too much heat on it. Obviously, he struggled with drops this year. Chase said, but he showed what he could have been and what he was with Arizona, and you're going to likely see at least a Broncos offense that should be better next year, and at the very least be a part of or not be the primary pass catcher.
I got nothing on Edmonds. I mean, you go to Miami and it doesn't work out, and then end up with Denver, and they've only got Latavius Murray, and it gives me some pause on Beatty too, who I really like, but you can't elevate off the practice squad. And then, I know they have a need there, but if he was traded there, he had time to prove that worth and elevate.
Well, you know what the best part about this is?
What's that?
Is that you can drop them if
it's
you
nothing.
can just cut them.
Yeah, drop
right
him
now. You're looking for guys that can have some potential value.
Yeah.
Through the draft process. Because what if Denver doesn't add anybody through free agency or through the draft?
I would be fucking shocked.
And then right, or at least no one of note. Then you're gonna start seeing Chase Edmonds, buy articles. Buy articles, sleepers. You don't like them.
Yeah, I'll start writing Tyler Beatty.
Value gets hot enough.
I'll start writing Tyler Beatty buy articles.
Just so you can sell
That's
them.
what's gonna
Perfect.
happen. Yep.
Hey, whatever
Exactly.
works, right?
I will do it. Ryan, mark my words. If they get through, if Denver goes through the draft and free agency without adding him back, I will write a Tyler Beatty buy article.
I love it.
You heard it here first.
He missed
Again,
another one.
is he 0 for 4?
He's 0 for
Or
4.
did they go for 2?
No, he is 0 for 4 on extra points.
What in the actual shit?
0 for 4.
Like
You're
how?
up. Thankfully, you're up 24-0, and
In
you're
the
down.
third, yeah.
And this is not like a Jacksonville situation. Like the Bucks have never shown that this year at all.
No, they ain't doing anything.
He
How the hell?
forfeits.
Holy shit! How do the Bucks only have 7 carries?
Well, see when you're down,
You don't really run
few
the
quick
ball.
touchdowns pretty quickly. And right, they'll just use them as pass catchers.
I guess.
Check his phone records. I can't believe it. I don't think I've ever seen that actually happen.
On extra points too. God hope you don't need
You're
a
right
field
there.
goal. Yeah.
Like that's like me trying to do an extra point. Like I would be 0 for 4 and expecting that because I
think
can't even hit the freaking post.
I think I could accidentally hit one.
Right? Yeah, you like doink it in like shit.
Give me 4 attempts and I might accidentally connect with one. But
He missed 3 all season too. That's like through 17 games, he just missed 3. He's missed 4 straight.
Beer review.
all right, we're about halfway through our timer and I'm almost out of wine, so this is where we're gonna go. Dan.
Yeah, and I'm drinking Big Drop in a craft brewery out of the UK, made by Distill in the United States. This is their Coba Maya. This is their Mexi style lager. It is like drinking Captain Crunch. It is light, very bready. It's of what the classic style would be. I don't really get much of the sea salt or nothing to it, but it's very much drinks like a traditional.
Which one is this?
This is their Mexi style lager.
And you said
What they
it
call
tastes
it.
like Captain Crunch? I don't really like Mexi lagers. If that tastes like Captain Crunch, I might have to try it.
Yeah, it's very, very bready, and
Sounds really good.
I like
Yeah.
bready.
yeah, it's like a, oh my god, it's like a pretty. It's I'm trying to find a comparison to it, but it's a little. It's not like your domestic lagers where they're like drinking water, but it's definitely like you're definitely gonna get the malt characteristics to it that they use. Your barley malt.
All right.
Yep.
I'm drinking Bistro with a T Chic. It is a blend of 40% Merlot, 30% Cab Sauv, and 30% Syrah. I had to do math real quick to make sure that I actually added up. That felt like a lot of percents. Nose, it's definitely cocoa and a lot of dark fruit. There is a lot of dark fruit on this thing. Wine is my weakest of the 3 major categories, by the way. Ton of dark fruit. It does smell a little bit bright, though. There is a little bit of brightness hanging under that, and I can taste a little bit of acidity on the palate. Finish is semi-dry. It's not harsh by any stretch of the imagination. Has a good mouthfeel as it rolls through. Yeah. A little chewy. Definitely a little bit brighter and more acidic than you'd expect from a lot of reds. But has that dark fruit and cocoa note there. A little bit of minerality to it. Overall, I mean, I've had a whole bottle over the course of, or damn near a whole bottle, minus that quarter cup that went into the food since about 6 o'clock. So I should tell you, it's a pretty good drinker. If you're not super into, dry wines, or basically you only drink Moscatos and sweet shit. Pretty good bridge, given the fruitiness to it and some of the bright citrus acidity. It's not harsh at all. So, yeah, there you go. My first wine review in a couple of years.
Love it.
Well, here's probably gonna be my first and only review.
Seltzer.
Yeah. Black
Is-
cherry White Claw seltzer.
Because they're all the same.
Yeah. It's sparkly. It's refreshing. It's got 2 carbs, 100 calories, so it's very good for you. But it's just crisp and it just tastes like black cherry in a cough syrup type of way.
Yep.
Yep.
You know what I'm drinking has less calories than what you're drinking.
Yours is 65 calories, right?
45 calories.
Oh, so close.
You know how much their IPA is? 10.
Really?
10.
Wow.
I mean, hops doesn't really add any calories to it. It just adds, your flavor and it preserves, but
It's lower
Yeah.
than a Monster Energy drink.
10. Yeah. It's about as close as you're going to get to a 0-calorie beer. It's pretty impressive. I was fucking shocked by it.
Bottle has the shittiest cork. I can't get this fucking thing out. I'm trying to go to something wine finish so I can drink it out of a wine glass. This is the worst fucking cork ever.
Did it break in your hand? Or
The
is it just that-
struggle is real, apparently.
Just take a screwdriver and pop it. Just slam it.
I got it. I don't want any more of it. That's a bottle kill. Bottle's gone. I don't have to fuck with that cork.
There you go.
What's in this glass and have a hell of a Tuesday? Because that's bourbon with just a little bit of wine left over. Or
Ooh.
There you go. That's fine.
Mix and match. It all goes to the same spot anyways.
at least it's a wine barrel finished bourbon, so it doesn't clash. I assume I'm gonna dump some of that. It was free, and yeah, I just don't want to fuck with that cork anymore. So I had a big enough vessel. Why not? All right. We're back to Ryan, or is it on me? Dan just went right before this, right?
It's on you.
It's
Hopper.
on you.
On
Yeah.
me? Okay. So my next call out here is gonna be, should I go deep or should I go?
I say we'll probably go
I-
one more round and then we go deep on the next round.
Okay.
Whatever, deep.
I'm gonna
is, I
go
guess.
with James Cook. Then is my next call out. Couple other honorable mentions. We'll get to it here at the end as we go. But James Cook is who I want to go to. This is a guy that I think you can probably have on the cheap because a lot of people. I mentioned instant gratification earlier. A lot of people want their rookies to hit year one, and when they don't, they're ready to be done with them. They're ready to move on. They have a full complement of picks and need their roster space. They're not willing to wait for something to pan out, especially in the running back. Singletary's headed to free agency. In limited work, James Cook was second in true yards per carry, third in yards per target, first in breakaway run rate, yards per touch, first in breakaway run rate with 11 on just 91 carries, proving he can be dynamic, he can be explosive. We know he's usable in the passing game. There are absolutely some red flags here, but like we've all mentioned, that's why Chase Edmonds is a recommendation. Running backs are hard to come by, and this could be a case where you get a usable player for a team that a drafting manager is just down on after his year one performance, even though, with Singletary headed to free agency, there's nobody ahead of him as you come into this, and the underlying efficiency metrics are pretty good from his utilization, and he has a little bit of draft capital in him. He's still on his original team. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the offseason, but I do think this is somebody that, if you have a manager that has him that isn't patient, that you can grab on the cheap as a throw-in deal, somebody to look at as you're trying to move around your draft board, that should fall into a pretty decent opportunity next year, even if Singletary is re-signed, given how dynamic he looked in his limited amount of work. So, shout out to James Cook. Players don't always hit in year one. This is one of them that people might be a little bit down on after a not great year one performance, but the underlying efficiency is good, and the opportunity, as it stands today, looks good.
I think he'd be actually hard to get
Yeah.
for anything lower than like a late first. I think that's what people want because that's what everyone was spending a mid to late round first round pick on him anyways, knowing that the split with Devin Singletary was going to happen, knowing that it wasn't really going to be this year. It was going to be more of a next year type of play. So trying to pry him, it's going to take, I think, a late first.
It's
just
gonna
to get it started.
It's gonna really
Yeah.
depend how the free agent class plays out and where guys go. Right now at the start of the 23 offseason, it's him and Naeem Hines. That is their running back room to start. I think Singletary resigns because I don't think he's gonna get what he thinks he'll get in free agency.
That's assuming the Bills want to invest in that though too.
Yeah, I think this would be an easy move. I don't know if they'll get him cheap, but I think they'll get him cheaper than probably what they would have to get to try to move up at a spot that they don't really need. They've found vast amount of success with Singletary. I still like the idea of James Cook after they bring somebody in. Right now, as Ryan mentioned, right now,
as long as it's not
very
like
difficult.
His brother that they're signing because he gets cut, or J.K. Dobbins or something like that. I like it.
I don't think Buffalo is going to invest heavy into the spot.
They never have.
That team.
No.
That
they invested a second into him.
I mean, yeah,
James Cook,
which is about as high as I think that team is going to go, and it's just how you feel about him as a player. It depends how you feel about him as a prospect. He was being overdrafted in rookie drafts, but those people that overdrafted him are not going to give him up for cheap.
No, because this is what they expected. Yeah. This is what they expected.
Well,
maybe.
Is it, or are you projecting? Or are you projecting what you expected onto most of everyone? I'm curious to see what happens as we get into the offseason, as we see some of these startup ADPs start to hit. Because what I know about Dynasty is that people are impatient.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People want now.
People want now, and if you don't get now, people are ready to move on for value. It's very, very much what have you done for me lately, which is literally what this call is based upon. And I think, we've been warned about this before, where you, me, Dan, all sitting here in the know where contracts are and in the know that you have to have some patience, can very easily say, like, yeah, no, I'm not ready to move off of that yet. He's just now getting his opportunity. Sometimes it takes more than a year. But, if you get your semi-average Dynasty player that doesn't have that foresight or that insight, then and that is just, I want it now, and if I can't get it, I'm gonna move on. It's a kick the tires type of move, really.
Yeah.
Just wait till the rookie draft.
Yeah,
I promise you. Like it's got good depth. It's not top heavy. Besides Bijan, and I guess we'll see what the combine gives us with some of these other guys. The Dynasty community, I guess at least the Devy community, has kind of cooled on Jahmyr Gibbs. Just wait till the draft. Like, your rookie draft is the best time to get guys like this, because people are going to fall in love with certain rookies. People always fall down. They see a guy that it's a part of a sleeper article that the FF Faceoff wrote about if fucking running backs in the second and third round. They're going to see that draft pick, that guy is still available. They're going to look at James Cook and go, well, Devin Singletary's back, because I think he's going to resign. You can go out and get him for that mid to late second round pick potentially, because somebody finds a guy that an article said to go get.
Yep.
And
find that sucker.
As Hopper mentioned, Cook had one game of production, which is smart people will hold on to and wait. But a lot of people, again, as Hopper goes back to, is they don't get that faction of that immediate production, and they go back and say, well, why couldn't he take more away from Singletary? Why couldn't he take more away from pre Zach Moss trade? Why couldn't he take more away from post Naeem Hines trade? Like, there's a lot to it, and it's going to really based on your league, right? You don't get people like us that do this shit every day. That's not what most Dynasty leagues are made up of. Yeah. And there's a reason why he's overdrafted in a lot of leagues, is because a lot of people wrote him up as sleepers, and people see that and they pay up, and you might get in for cheaper as you get closer to your rookie draft.
Indeed.
Boom.
We can only hope.
All right, let's go around let's go around to deep cuts, and then we can hit all of our just names and honorable mentions as we got like 20 minutes left on the clock.
Brian, go ahead.
I'm trying to think what deep cut I want to use. I got 2 players I want to use, but I don't know which one I want to use. Do you guys want the New Orleans guy or you want the Carolina Panthers guy?
Let's go with New Orleans because I know what both
New
of them
Orleans
are.
because I know what both of them are too, and I think the New freaking.
All right, so Rashid Shaheed, the wide receiver there, who seems to always catch the long deep pass that everyone loves, and then you don't think you ever see him. Yeah, but that's just it. You don't think anything else. And actually, I studied into him a little bit. And the final 6 games, like he was actually, that's when he really started coming up on the radar. So he goes from an undrafted rookie who posted 28 catches off 34 targets for 488 yards and 2 touchdowns. Along with that, he also has rushing upside and ran 4 times for 57 yards and another touchdown. The reason why I like this one a lot is because Michael Thomas restructured his contract, but we don't know the status of Michael Thomas. We know that, Chris Olave has a spot, but what about Jarvis Landry? Is he coming back? It's interesting of
He's not under contract.
He's like, yeah, but is he going to come back? Is he going to resign or anything?
Why would he? It'd be a weird move for him to do that. But sorry, go ahead.
But it's an interesting site because the way I look at it is he has himself cemented into this wide receiver core. Plus, if you don't really think he's going to make it in the receiver core, he is their kick returner. So he also has that special teams ability. He could be like that poor man's like Ashton Doolin that a lot of people like, especially like player profile. I always hear Matt Kelly always talk about him.
Hey,
how much he loves him.
You don't fucking besmirk Ashton Doolin, goddammit.
I'm not. I'm just saying, like his that's like my Ashton Doolin is Rashid Shaheed right now. It's like someone I actually like look forward to actually having on my fantasy teams right now. That's a nice deep stash.
So the nice thing about this is that the Saints are right now in the worst cap hell out of all teams. They are the bottom in terms of what they have at negative 53 million. They're gonna have to shed a lot of contracts. Michael Thomas, I don't see him. It's tough because their cap situation is pretty much hell with them. His cap is 14.1 million. His dead cap is 26 million.
Oh Jesus.
He's gonna have to force his way out of a trade. There's no fucking way that they cut him. None. I don't see a way out for him. I don't think he has anything noted of post cuts, and the 40 years don't start until after the 24 season. So someone will likely trade for him, but it's his health, right? And it's just Chris Olave's ahead of him. That's it. Shaheed is going to be their deep threat. That's been his primary role. We don't know the quarterback future, but they don't have a first round pick.
Yeah, so their quarterback future, and they don't have cap space, so their quarterback future is whatever the fuck they pick up off the scrap heap, yeah.
Or second round. Whoever they get second round even.
They have Jameis, so Dalton's a free agent. Winston's still under contract. I think it'll be Winston coming back.
Probably going to be Jameis, who it should have been most of this season. They inexplicably stayed with Dalton for I don't know why.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the Saints, so. But I do like the call out. He should be a better fit with Winston, who's a better deep ball passer. At least he's more erratic, or he was more erratic before he left the Bucs.
Yeah. I don't know. Shaheed is somebody who mid-season popped to me as intriguing, but the Saints are just so fucked from anything offensively that's a hard one. Because I don't know how they get an upgrade at quarterback. I don't think they can. Even if you pluck somebody second round in the draft, looking at this quarterback class, like, I haven't done film yet, but there's going to have to be somebody I really, really love to feel like they're going to get an upgrade in the second round.
I mean, they're not going to upgrade if it's not in the first round.
Yeah.
They can try to move up and try to go after a guy that drops maybe. But I mean, the historical hit rate of a second round pick is god awful low.
Bad. And even if
I see them going for like a Heineke type, a guy that's going to be vet minimum.
Somebody's dropping in this class. I don't want them, honestly, from looking at it. So they're in a bad situation. Dan?
All right, we're going to go my deep cut. We're going to say with my home team, Jalen Naylor.
Ooh, I love it.
All right.
It is deep.
This is Jesus Christ. I'm just very choked up talking about it, apparently. The Vikings are also in cap hell. And they're at the spot where the Saints are at, and where they're going to have to start making the tough decision about getting rid of some of these vet core players. The reason why Cook's a popular cut candidate. The reason why Adam Thielen is a popular cut candidate, because of the amount of money that they'll save and shed from the contract to get them back up to zero. Because right now they're also negative, with their cap. I think they're like 5th from the bottom right now. They're not 5th, so they're 23rd. They're $8 million under the cap at the moment. Naylor is going to jump into a situation where he's going to have an opportunity to compete for the number 3 spot. Potentially, probably between 3 and 4. It depends what the Vikings add in the offseason in terms of wide receiver. This is actually a good class for depth for your number 2 and 3 spots. It's just not top heavy, right? It doesn't really mirror the draft class because there's no dominant guy that you can go out and get in free agency. But you're going to get some depth pieces here, and I fully expect them to add in players. But Naylor was someone that it is very limited opportunity, right? The blowout game against the Packers, he got the lone, he got the first touchdown in just 15% of his snaps that he played, or in just the 15% of snaps overall. He went 3 for 3 with the big touchdown at the end. In the game against the Bears, when he had a little bit more run, played nearly 50% of the snaps, 4 catches, 5 targets, 62 yards, right? These numbers aren't great. Obviously, this is a 6th-round pick guy, but he's going to have an opportunity on a very pass-heavy offense that will not have the defense fixed next year. So an offense that should continue to be more pass-heavy, and we know it can definitely be prolific. He's also a speedster. He's going to be another outside guy. So someone that you should look to add into your bench. He's the first he's a first cut guy, but someone to add as you're watching this, because whoever the Vikings add or don't add potentially is going to speak to where those deep dynasty stashes will come from, because this is an offense you still want to attack for fantasy.
All right. If I'm looking deep, y'all want the wide receiver or the tight end? I don't think we talked about a tight end.
There's not very many, but I want to
like
hear
tight
it.
end.
Let's go tight end.
All right. Tight end, I'm going to go with Peyton Hendershot. And the asterisk on this is that you can also replace everything I'm about to say for Hendershot with the name Jake Ferguson, and it's the same fucking thing. But
I wrote the same thing down. One of those two.
It's one of those two. Dalton Schultz is a free agent after the season. Cowboys traditionally have utilized a tight end that is capable of top 5 scoring. When Dalton Schultz was down, they kind of split work and both looked decent in doing so. Hendershot is slightly more athletic than Jake Ferguson, slightly higher spark score. Shout out to Nick. And like I said, they split work when Schultz was injured. Like quarterback, tight end is really, really hard to find sleepers at. They seemingly come out of nowhere, and if they're not these hyper athletic college studs, they normally don't hit. But Schultz carried a contract dispute with the Cowboys into the offseason. Played this year on the franchise tag. They're not franchise tagging him again. They couldn't get a long-term deal done before. I highly doubt it happens again, which means that it's going to be Henderson or Hendershot and Ferguson. Henderson's probably a good way to put it because they're the same fucking person. Playing out for it. I'm going with Hendershot because he's the one I actually have rostered. So
I like it. Hey, if that makes you feel better. I mean, especially with Schultz being the free agent, and it's like we always know how that tight end has been with Dak Prescott there.
Yeah.
And who was one before Schultz? Everyone was like favorite one to draft.
Wasn't
I can't remember his
Jason
name.
Witten, Blake Jarwin.
Blake Jarwin. Yeah,
Jarwin.
Everyone's over Blake Jarwin that one year, and then he goes down, and then Schultz steps up.
Yep.
So like it's always like it's nice there because you're trying to figure out who the next man up is. So you have one of the two to pick up. So I like that pick. just because this offense needs whatever it can because it's got to shed these contracts too.
Yep.
And it's one contract they can't afford Schultz after this year.
No, not.
Man,
At least not on franchise tags.
the tight end free agency is pretty fucking good. Mike Gesicki, Schultz, Evan Ingram, who I fully expect to be resigned. Austin Hooper, Tunyon, Hayden Hurst,
Yeah.
Irv Smith.
Yeah, it's
It's a good tight end and running back free agent class. It's not a good core. Well, Jackson is set to be a free agent. It's a good tight end and running back free agent class. You got one quarterback that you could go sell the farm for. He's going to be a Raider. And
no, he'll be franchise tagged.
you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Unless Harbaugh retires, he'll be franchise tagged no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And if he gets moved, if he gets moved, it's because he gets traded, and then someone gives him a long-term deal.
That's fair. Wide receivers is shallow, so
It's bad.
yep. All right. You want to go hit some rapid fire, just kind of honorable mentions? Who's the top guy you had left that you didn't get to talk about? Ryan, we'll start with you.
I had Jordan Mason, the running back for San Francisco, just because it's a running back for San Francisco that was not drafted in the third round.
Literally, I mean,
That's fair.
Any running back from San Fran, even if they were bad.
Yep.
No, I don't do third round.
I also wrote down TDP because you want to, you want to have.
You want a piece of that backfield.
You do.
They should always be rostered. Always.
I'm going to throw it back to last week as we just kind of throw guys out there. Tyler Algier is one that I had that you can maybe grab in a trade. He's an interesting one to me because I think that there's a case to call Tyler Algier a sell right now. There's also a case to call him a buy. But we talked last week about how close he was to Kenneth Walker, and even when you get in terms of everything but touchdowns, and then even when you get down into like true yards per carry, broken tackles, yards after contact, things like that, they are literally right with each other. So I think his upside's a bit more limited. I think you make the argument either way, but again, running backs are hard to come by. So if you can get one on the cheap, why not?
There's a nice caveat to this. They still have Patterson under contract. It's not avoided years until the 24 off season, which means Atlanta, even though they have the second most cap right now,
probably not won't go running back. Yeah,
not gonna add another running back to that backfield.
And
at least
productivity all happened with Patterson there. So
yeah, I think the sell part comes from the dominant ending to it. Right,
yes.
He's kind of like is the opposite of Damian Pierce, where Pierce is probably going to be
the better buy.
The better buy, but I like the running back situation and the idea of them likely not adding anybody of note, even if it's supposed to be a strong running back class. Throwing out mine, Pierce Strong, right?
Yeah, I
That's
debated on him and Kevin Harris with the Patriots with Damian on the way out. Yeah,
you can put both of them on there. I would lean Pierce Strong. He's got the better athletic profile,
way more athletic. Yes.
Kevin Harris had the more high school pedigree and recruit pedigree.
Harris is the better between the tackles guy. Strong's the more dynamic guy.
See, yeah, Strong was the one that didn't catch passes in college, that then was used as the JJ Taylor. It's a type of guy in this offense before he got hurt, as he was the primary pass catcher when both Harris and Stevenson were hurt. As Hopper mentioned, Harris is a free agent, and we know what the Patriots love to do. We are going to run down our guy, and then we're going to let him fucking go, and we're going to be the next man up, and that's going to be your Stroud and Harris. Both of them should be. I lean Stroud as the guy I'd be more excited about. Stroud's probably rostered more than Harris, so if he is, go pick up Harris. Maybe go throw a late round pick at him if you really want to get a Patriot rostered. And I firmly believe, not firmly, but I have this hunch that Brady's going to return to New England next year. So We know how much Brady likes his running backs.
All right.
He loves his running backs.
4 minutes. One more apiece. Make it quick.
Terrence Marshall.
He's the number 2 outside guy.
He's the number 2 outside guy.
Yeah.
He's a 50-50. Saw his role expanded and was productive.
Yep.
In the quarterback carousel.
We all loved him a couple years ago. He stumbled. He started to show a little bit of life here at the end of the season. So he's one that I actually like a lot.
Could have just taken a minute, and depending on what they do at quarterback.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is what they're going to do at quarterback.
Yep. Dan?
We're going to go back to Superflex, a guy I don't like, but he's going to fall into probably a competition. Kyle Trask. Tampa Bay.
Oof.
Brady is into his void years. It's his decision on whether or not he wants to return to Tampa Bay. Obviously, it's going to be a massive, heavy cap hit if he does. I don't believe he's going back to Tampa Bay. This is going to be the same outcome in which he had against the Titans in his last year with the Patriots in the postseason. He's going to leave. I fully expect the Patriots to try to bring him back, get him paired back up with Belichick. That's going to leave Tampa Bay at a massive void in the low draft pick, not a lot of ammunition to use for it, and no competition because it's just him on their contract at this point. They'll bring in guys, right? But they spent a 2nd-round pick on him. They're going to try to find some way to see what they have. Again, we're in the very early stages of the offseason for Dynasty. Throw him on your roster and see what happens. At the very least, there's buzz, or if he makes it through free agency and the draft, you can trade him. That's why you want to roster Trask. He's not good, but he'll be a starter. He'll have a chance to probably throw some passes. So,
all right, my remaining deep cap is Kyle Phillips.
Also wrote him down.
Yeah, 9 targets in the opener before things went very downhill. He got hurt, and then there was nothing in that Tennessee passing game. He never really cracked the lineup again. I can't see where he was on IR or anything, but Woods is a cut candidate for $13 million in savings against the cap. Westbrook's an RFA. Hasn't really turned into anything. The Titans are hunting for a new offensive coordinator, which hopefully gets him away from being so run heavy. He has insane agility. He's got a passable 40 time that puts him in company athletically. Is some guys that broke out later like Doug Baldwin, Hunter Renfrow, even Cooper Kupp and Wes Welker in terms of future upside. They're all the same type of athletic profile. Good route runner, plays primarily out of the slot. So looking for him to build on year 2, but he gave you nothing after week 1. So in terms of buy low, he's one of my favorite options. Is a guy that can give you some wide receiver 3 type of consistency with maybe a little bit of upside down the stretch.
Speaking of Opera's point, Titans are $24 million under the cap, over the cap right now, 3rd worst.
Oh yeah.
So they're going to be looking to shed contracts. The same note I wrote down about him too, because I haven't written down is they're going to save just a 2.6 dead cap to cut Woods, which I fully expect to happen. And they're not going to have a lot of money to shell out to this wide receiver depth chart. They're a class they have their primary spot to see a guy get drafted probably late day 2, early day 3, but Phillips should have a chance, at least in camp, to be competing for the starting slot position or
and they need
outside second.
And they need outside help. So, Phillips profiling as a slot guy, go ahead and draft some outside help. Honestly,
I love it. Yeah, Phillips. I love Phillips even during like the pre-draft process.
I did too.
Oh, we know.
We did.
We know.
Yeah, and we did too. All right, cool. That's the end of that. Real quick, I'll give you guys a chance to do this too. Guys I didn't get to without any context, you gotta research them yourself. Khalil Herbert, John Mechie, Dodson, Pickens, Williams, any running back free agent because it's a really strong class. Dulcich, Chigakonkwo, Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, who came up on a lot of leadership lists, who people may be trying to get out of, and Brandon Ayuk were the guys on my list we didn't get to. So if you guys want to do a quick rundown, go ahead.
Mine are going to be a lot deeper. I'm sorry, Brian, you go. I've talked a lot.
I got Tyler Huntley. I got Jarrett Stidham. My mouse just died. There it goes.
While he's dealing with that, by the way, you can find all of Ryan's at fffaceoff.com. He has an article on it.
Yeah, I even went tight ends. I have Albert Okoyebuno. And then I went even deeper than that with Brock Wright.
Promise you that name has never been pronounced on this show. Not because
Brock Wright is a free.
Albert Okoyebuno. Yeah, because we just usually go with Alberto.
Alberto. I've been practicing.
Yeah, you don't want me trying to pronounce the name with that many syllables. Brock Wright is a free agent. He will not. He could return, but he is a free agent. All right. Tristan Ebner for me for the Bears. Lack of running back room. Chris Evans. Again, these are all running backs that are going to be, number 2s on their roster at this given moment. Calvin Austin for the Steelers. Deep threat outside guy, and that's it.
All right. Cool. That's the show. Tune in next week, and we'll kind of take the other route on this, more so looking at guys you should, potentially try to get out of versus stash. Yeah, also maybe looking at some higher level buys. Like Dan said, a lot of my guys weren't necessarily deep as I listed them off, but probably focus a little bit more on the sell side and guys you should be looking to cut ties with. Follow the show at Beerfield or at Beerfield on Twitter, because the handle is still the same. So at Beerfield will find it, or Beerfield Fantasy Football Podcast is the name. At Ryan Miner _FFB for all of his content. FFfaceoff.com to find the article with the rest of his stashes there. And as we try to work through rookie drafts at Beerfield, or at, God damn it, Beerfield 30. I forgot your Twitter handle for a second.
It's all right.
I'm a whole bottle of wine in.
You are.
I'm just now getting smiley. Anyway, that's the show. Thank you so much. Catch you guys next week, probably on a Thursday. We'll talk about it after the show. See ya. Ryan will tweet it out beforehand, though. So,
oh, yeah. I'll get it out there.
Follow.
See you guys.